Welcome back, Stache Club Wrestling. My name is John. John Moonsault sometimes? I don't know. Welcome to the first ever edition of Yays and Boos. We are taking a look at SmackDown last night and giving our Yays and Boos. Basically, it's hot takes, but everyone does hot takes now. It's kind of brand different. So basically, I'm going to take your hot takes that you submitted on Twitter when I tweeted it out. I'm going to read them, critique them, agree or disagree, which basically means I'm going to give them a yay or a boo, or I'm going to give the situation that's referring to as a yay or a boo. You know, so it's kind of a mix of like 2 or 3 different things into one. Before I get started, please make sure you subscribe, leave your likes, leave your comments. Patreon.com/StacheClub for a bonus wrestling Q&A podcast over there with Jimmy. We have merch in the description. We have a WWE Fanatics link. What else? Follow me on everything. Obviously, elephant in the room, we are coming off of a lot of WWE releases that kind of occurred a little before SmackDown, kind of during SmackDown last night. We are going to be talking about the show mainly, but, you know, it felt like an injustice to not at least mention it or give light to it. Now, obviously, that we all need to understand. These are real people who just lost their real jobs, and there's friends in that co-worker space that just are now no longer working with their friends. And there's real life stuff that is just bigger than just like, oh, this character on TV isn't doing this thing anymore. So like, my thoughts go out to everyone who got released and was affected by it. And I'm sure that the grass is going to be greener on the other side, and all these people have a super bright future, and there'll be places where people can go and exceed to a point where maybe WWE was not allowing them to or giving them opportunities to, right? And that goes to the whole conversation of why it's so important for the wrestling industry outside WWE to be so strong. A monopoly is bad. There should be other thriving companies. That's why we should be rooting for and championing other companies to be successful. So your favorite wrestlers who maybe don't have a spot right now in WWE or get unfortunately released, or, you know, whatever the case may be, they have places to go and opportunities to make money and still wrestle and still put on a show for you, and obviously do what they love at the same time. I'll also reiterate that if you do see people discussing it and, you know, saying, oh, this person was shocking or this is the most shocking, when it comes to that, I'll just kind of speak for like Stache Club and myself, whatever, but I think I can kind of speak outwardly. That sort of conversation is about the character on TV and the projections and the speculation of where that character on TV could have been due to that real person's skill, obviously, but like, you know what I mean? You know what I'm getting at. Obviously, this is never going to be like, this human is above and whatever. Like, everyone is human at the end of the day, and when there does come time to talk about it and whatever, it's about the characters on TV. But obviously, best wishes to everyone release. So that's my 2 cents on that. We'll get into the video. All right, we'll get started. The first one here is that the U.S. title Fatal 4-Way is probably the match I'm looking forward to most at Backlash. Yeah, I'd have to agree. Backlash is a weird card. I honestly think it's gonna be fun and silly. Like, we have Pat versus Gunther, which isn't gonna be a 5-star classic, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't looking forward to it, strictly in the sense of I just want to see what happens. I want to see if Gunther's gonna destroy him. How much fight is Pat gonna put up? Is Pat gonna hit a cool swanton or a moonsault or do something cool? I'm curious what shape he's in, but mainly I'm curious what direction we're going with Gunther. Then obviously sticking with kind of, you know, celebrity stuff, Logan Jay. I'm weirdly defending this match, where again, do I think it's gonna be a 5-star clinic? No. And again, and I agree with and I get that, like, hey, I want to see good wrestling on my wrestling show. So, like, who cares if on paper it makes sense in terms of story? It should also be complemented with, like, a good quality wrestling match. And I agree with that. But one, I do think people, especially on the internet, are just really quick to discredit Jay's in-ring. I think he'll be fine. He'll be good. And Logan Paul, wow, hey, I don't like the guy. I don't even really super care that he's in WWE or not. But it's been weird to see the narrative shift, because I feel like for a while it's been like, oh, Logan Paul's athletic, he can wrestle, he's a natural, da-da-da. And now all of a sudden people are like, he can't wrestle, and da-da-da. Like, I think they're going to put on a very quick-paced and athletic, high-fly sort of match. I think it'll exceed expectations, but only because expectations are already pretty low, which honestly might work to their benefit. And again, I'm going to reiterate, I'm not looking forward to that match the most. I agree with this person. I'm giving this a yay. That's our first yay of the history of this thing. That yes, I am also looking forward to the U.S. title Fatal 4-Way. It is a little bit of a book with the IC title, but, you know, the roster is so bloated, you know, Yep. That you have to have these multi-men and women matches to get everyone on the card. All right, next, yay or boo is I want a Tiffany versus Nia one-on-one match. I feel like it's missing from Tiffany's reign after cashing in. Yeah, they had a match for Elimination Chamber, but it ended in disqualification. Yeah, I remember that was in February. Candice LeRae came in and, their disqualification, blah, blah. I agree and I disagree. This is another thing where it's like on paper versus real life, right? Maybe I'm about to contradict myself. Now, Nia did get her rematch. So like in the book, she did get her rematch. However, same thing on writing is I do agree that a straight up one-on-one, no funny business, no shenanigans, rightful win would help establish and elevate Tiffany's reign, especially coming off and really closing that chapter with a lot of that Nia Jax story. However, I also think we have bigger fish to fry and it's time to move on. We have a Jade Cargill, we have a Naomi up to bat. It looks like maybe, I wouldn't be mad if we just announced another fatal four-way match between all four of these women, to be honest with you. Next week, we are getting Jade Cargill versus Nia Jax for the number one contendership. Is that going to lead to another disqualification? Naomi is not involved in the match, so she's going to get involved in the match, you know what I mean? I think this will lead to a multi-woman. If not, though, if we do get a straight up one-on-one, be it at Backlash or whatever, I think it should be Jade Cargill. So I'm gonna, it's a light boo because I think I'm way more buckled in for like Jade and Naomi to have this shine. And Nia kind of had her turn, still be involved in like, the multi-woman will be cool, but I don't think we need the one-on-one right now, while I agree that like it would really close that chapter, but it's been some time. All right, next one. I thought it was pretty weak, referring to SmackDown in general as a show. I think it's pretty clear that SmackDown's roster is not that strong with Cody out and Drew off, but more importantly, the women's division is nowhere near the Raw woman. Tiffany is fine, but she's not on a level of Becky, Lyra, Rhea, Io. Okay, there's some boos and there's yays here. I'll get the boo out of the way. I think Tiffy is absolutely at the level of a Becky, Lyra, Rhea, Io. She is a star. She's a fantastic performer. She's so young. She's a bright future. She's already at the level she's at. So I'm giving that a boo. I think put some respect on Tiffany's name. To the rest of your comment, though, I do agree, and this is a yay, that, or maybe it's technically a boo because, all right, well, it's a boo, but I'm agreeing with your boo. Okay, we're figuring out the show logistics still. So SmackDown's roster not being as strong without Cody or Drew is a boo because I agree with it. God. No, okay, I'm judging the take and opinion. So that's a yay. God damn it. Anyway, I agree. I think SmackDown is lacking in multiple ways when compared to Raw. The obvious in the room is they can't stretch out 3 hours. Raw doesn't even go 3 hours. Raw most of the time goes like 2.5 hours, 2:40 nowadays. SmackDown being stretched out to 3 hours with not as stacked of a roster, and if you're already missing a Cody and Drew, it's a long 3 hours. I'm hoping that promise or whatever you want to call it still stands where we're going back to 2 in June. I saw some tweets being like, that's the rumor, but nothing's official, so I'm getting a little nervous about that. And the Raw roster is just stacked. I don't know if it's because like the Netflix deal happened, they stacked it up to get everyone over there. I don't really know. The Raw women are going crazy. I don't think they're up to the level of an NXT women's division, but they're creeping up while SmackDown is just kind of, playing down here. And if you look at the Raw side compared to SmackDown, it's like SmackDown has a pretty solid mid-card division, like especially look at this Fatal 4 with the US title we were just talking about. But yeah, in terms of top guys, it's lacking. So yeah, I agree with that. Yay, because I agree. All right, yay basically means agree. Boo means disagree. Yay to your yes, SmackDown roster's in tough shape without Cody Drew. Boo to Tiffany is not on that level. Word. All right, we figured it out. All right, next one. Aleister Black being back with his theme from Incendiary is incredible. In a time of so many bland and unintelligible themes, him having his old theme, such an iconic hardcore band, makes him stand out before he's even in frame. This is a yay. This might be the biggest yay of the video. We just put out that current theme songs quiz video, and like, it is part to my memory just being like so awful, but I do think it is also largely in part to, and this is a whole tangent. This is always the conversation, so I won't spend too much time on this, but yes, like, I fully agree. A lot of theme songs are, I hate to use the word generic, unrecognizable, but having Aleister Black's old theme, maybe that is a little hit of nostalgia, I don't know, but mainly because it's a real band and it's people who are making stuff to stand out, or making stuff that just naturally is gonna stand out because they're not making it purposely to be a wrestling theme song, so you kind of get caged in a little there. But yeah, I love it, big fan. The whole time I was watching him and The Miz in my head and probably on stream, twitch.tv/John Moonsault, youtube.com John Moonsault. I stream there and post videos. I had his song stuck in my head. I'll admit it. Sue me. Lock me up. All right, next one. They gotta figure out the Naomi character. She's like this badass with her theme and entrance, but when Cargill comes out to confront her, she just runs away. Instantly, this isn't done yet, but like, I'm kind of booing, aka disagreeing already. Because if Jade Cargill's coming out, no matter how much of a badass or how unhinged and wild I am, if Jade Cargill's coming out looking jacked, I'm running. I'm sprinting. I want her to be a heel that is fully badass, the kind of heel that looks for a fight and not runs from one at any point. There's definitely a little bit of agreement there. While I do like this new Naomi character, I think the whole change, like the caution tape, is really cool. She has a great theme. She has a great look. I do agree where she's a little unhinged, she should be a little fearless. However, we've kind of been seeing that in a heel way where she's like sneaking up on Jade and she's like beating her down and like going crazy, and it seems like she's snapping when she's like throwing those punches, right? So I think that plays more into her character than her just being like a Braun Breaker level, like no one's standing in my way. Because I do like the idea of it also elevating Jade to like, yeah, Naomi's unhinged and a little, maybe a screw is a little loose at this point, but Jade is still Jade, and like, oh my God, a clean fight, I'm running away from that. So I'm gonna give this one a boo, but I see where you're coming from. Boo seems too harsh. Boo is just disagree. Boo seems very harsh. All right, so next one, Aleister Black and Mello should have a best of 7 series that would feed families. Yay. I fully agree. I love their stare down after the Miz match. I loved Aleister and the Miz. I'm not gonna get on my soapbox. Put some respect on the Miz's name. It takes 2 to tango. Obviously, he made Aleister Black look great. Aleister Black looked great on his own. The Miz is a workhorse. He's a trusted guy. It's why they put him in this position. Okay, but then we got the Aleister Black Carmelo Hayes stare down. Loved it, and it was a stare down. They got closer, kind of walked a little bit, and then still locking eyes. I think that would be great. Let's see that first match, and then let's kind of go to a best of 7, and let's make it end and be overall more satisfying of a conclusion than the Andrade Mello best of 7. Please, can we ask for that, huh? I don't ask for much. All right, last one here from Stache Club's own Jimmy from the Q. I want a serious R-Truth heel run in 2025, cigarettes and all. Sure, overall, I'll give this a yay. I'm down for it. R-Truth heel run, because he's trying to emulate his childhood hero John Cena, would be electric and super funny. I would also love, however, R-Truth maybe snapping and being like, John, this isn't you, and then getting a John Cena versus R-Truth match, and it's a squash match. John Cena brutalizes R-Truth, and just like, I'm not your child. Like, this is what he's been talking about. He's like, oh, I babysat all these kids or whatever. R-Truth is playing this role as like a John Cena fan and a John Cena kid. So I think that'd be really cool, just for like, an episode of Raw or SmackDown. John Cena comes out, R-Truth match, and you think it's gonna be respectable and like, oh, I'm putting over the young guy, but like then it ends up being just like, oh my God, let him up. However, on the flip side of this, like Jimmy's saying, if this does mean maybe just like an outside, we don't need to involve R-Truth in this John Cena stuff, but if he's removed but still so influenced by Cena, it would be very funny to see all of a sudden R-Truth starting to act like heel Cena, All right, and I think that does it. Those are this week's Yays and Boos for Friday Night SmackDown. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think of this concept overall. Do you like this on the channel? Did you hate it? Was it absolutely confusing? I was a little confused. Again, before you go, make sure you subscribe, leave your likes, leave your comments, merch, fanatics. Also, please check out my YouTube channel, John Moonsault, as well as my Twitch. I'm posting videos on the YouTube channel all the time, so it's more individual stuff like this, but a little funny, a little silly, a little goofy. All right, folks, that's it. I'll see you next time. Goodbye. Thank you for being here. Goodbye. I'll give you one of these. Bye.